what is happening in the industry right now with these younger writers or some of these jobs?
Yeah, I mean, it's no guess now that all those how-to articles are, no one's using WikiHow. They're going to ChatGPT or Claude, and they're pulling from the internet. Like, they're pulling from WikiHow. You can see their
Mm,
sources, and that's public knowledge.
right.
We don't have to get into the copyright of it all. But the optimistic side of me is always the like, look, this is going to unlock a new version of productivity in art. And I think I have this more optimistic version. It's like, okay, the writers coming up on this are going to be able to develop wild projects beyond our imagination. Where I get a little worried is being an assistant editor of a film, which is syncing footage and pulling clips. That's something that already AI companies are saying. We're going to cut down time for the big editors. The big editors can get pre-cut early rounds and pre-synced. And then they're going to be able to edit the artist version of the editing, the artist version of the short film. I think that's true, but I learned how to be an editor by being an assistant editor. I learned what footage was wanted. I learned what the footage was doing, and I learned how to hunt down shots that maybe don't seem like the right shot to add to something. As WikiHow, I learned how to write a sentence, and now I'm writing corporate compensation articles about how compensation committees across the S&P 500 are paying and incentivizing executives and talent. I learned how to do that because I learned how to research, how to talk to people at that level, how to break down very complex issues into very step-by-step things, because I wrote How to Make Tikka Masala. I don't think the line is that far to go to
Yeah.
get from one to the other. I think the mistake that we're making in our conversation a lot around AI and art is that, oh, no, it's never going to take away the jobs from real artists. But I think that's forgetting that real artists don't just spring out of nowhere fully formed. Andy Warhol made marketing sketches and doodles for years in Pittsburgh. Joan Didion was writing copy for Vogue, like nothing copy for Vogue. All of these people we consider these great artists, like started doing the menial work that we're so excited to automate.
Now that streaming subscribers have surpassed
hmm
cable subscribers, like how are those changes affecting
Yeah,
jobs and roles?
a lot. I don't want to get started on why streaming is an awful business model. Everybody made a whole lot more money during cable. Everyone had a lot more choice. They were paying less at this point because streaming has gone up.
Yeah, definitely.
I think uh, Netflix is already starting to shorten their windows. Like, oh, we're going to drop 3 episodes at once instead of 10, because dropping things from time to time and letting people watch them together week to week and build up a cultural resonance and have, organic marketing build up as they do it. What do you know? That's kind of great. That's how you get your White Lotuses and your Game of Thrones and
Yeah.
these week to week shows that really capture the imagination. So all I'm saying could be irrelevant very shortly, as I think a lot of channels are starting to go back to an older model. Personally, it allowed the streaming was a boom. If we're going to
Mm-hmm.
make 10 episodes and drop them all at once in 1 week, we don't need 4 shows for the season.
Mm-hmm.
We need 100 shows for the season.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of jobs and a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity. As I said earlier, the contraction, the hangover of that has been rough. It did allow, in a way that I hope we don't lose, an expansion of the types of stories being told. Streaming's big advantage, the thing that I hope we don't lose, and I think we're doing a good job balancing, as if I speak for all of Hollywood. With streaming, you're not going after how many people can I get around the TV at this one time. It's how do I have shows for this group of people and this group of people
Mm-hmm.
and that group of people, so it allowed the perspectives that were viable to expand. You
Yeah.
could put shows on that might be smaller budget and maybe only 500,000 people watch them, but there are 500,000 people who have never had a show related to their life come out before.
Yeah.
Like, that's an amazing thing, and I hope as we come back towards a more lucrative model that's maybe
Mm-hmm.
a little broader, we don't lose our recognition of that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to. Hollywood, I think, is trying to figure out, okay, we way overspent in the streaming network. A bunch of places are going out of business. 3 of the biggest players in Hollywood are tech companies. I consider Netflix a tech company
Sure.
first that makes entertainment, but Amazon and Apple are right on their heels. Disney, which used to be this vaunted thing, is considering shunting off its cable networks and so on and so forth. Everybody's Everybody's trimming down. The question is, if you trim down, what do you trim to? I think
Right.
there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think in uncertainty, people are falling back on the bread and butter.
Yeah.
Okay, what's got my best shot at getting a bunch
Yeah.
of viewers? Um, that said, I desperately miss everybody's watching the same show. Part of the reason I think I fell in love with TV was NBC's Thursday night lineup, The
Mhm.
Office, and My Name is Earl, and Community, and 30 Rock. And you'd show up at, for me, I'd show up at school the
Yep.
next morning, Friday morning, and it was like, what'd you see? And
Yeah.
some people would run away because they hadn't caught it yet. They'd TiVoed it, or they had to
Yeah.
wait for the rerun.
Right.
And you just swap the jokes and swap the
Mhm.
stories. And then obviously Game of Thrones was one of the last times we ever had that.
Yeah.
I miss that feeling because I think that's where art is at its strongest.
I
Is
agree.
obviously streaming is not the only thing fragmenting attention spans. The social media landscape and I think general um, targeted content in smaller and smaller windows. I
Yeah.
think it is maybe to blame or to celebrate if that's what certain people like. But again, that worries me about this current future for artists.
Right.
I don't think TV's going to go away, but I think it's changing very rapidly, and there's more and more people saying like, why make real TV when you can make vertical dramas, which are phone dramas, which there's big money and there's a lot of attempts to poach talent to do that kind of thing and to move people over.
We've actually talked to a few people who have said, like, right now, I have to pivot to social media. Like,
Yeah,
that is like where I go next. Like, have you ever felt that push? Like, I know
yeah,
even like when I scroll through TikTok, I'm seeing like 10-minute short films
yeah.
that are
Like,
beautiful and like
right.
really well done and like really creative. But have you felt like this is maybe where I need to go next to keep up? Or
Yeah, I have to an extent. I have some friends who have, and I've worked on some stuff that's been in that level. I've got some personal red flags that throw up there, especially thinking of longevity of career.
yeah,
I think right now, and look, my production company did something for one of these companies and did a drama, and it was the most hellish shoot we've ever had.
yeah,
I mean, the timing we were given to make something, the budget we were given to make something, but the demands on what we were making for that level were insane. I mean, to the point where I don't think we like mentally could have held up and done that for very long. I
yeah.
currently don't see I don't see the long-term career in those
Mm-hmm.
things because I don't yet really see how you're going to get paid in a way that you can actually have healthcare and pay your bills.
Yeah,
You have very little profit margin. You have very little ability to get paid. You have very little to no ownership once it's out in the world.
yeah,
The demand to never stop, the way to do it is to never stop. I mean, to really have a career, you just have to keep making things and making things and making things and
yeah.
there's no such thing as residuals. The like 0.1 or 0.3% of creators ever get paid at all. Very few make enough to have a living, especially in a major urban environment. And for most of them, you have to do all the ancillary stuff. You do your own bookkeeping,
Mm-hmm.
you do your own marketing, you do your own development. You pay your own bills, you pay your own accountants. It's a lot of unpaid labor all of a sudden to
Right.
get your career up and going. And the
Yeah.
expectation of unpaid labor, the expectation that, look, people are going to get free entertainment on Instagram, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
is very different from a system where if you develop something, if you develop your art, and you find a consumer and you find something, they're gonna have to pay for it down the line.